Now that our motherboard is installed, we are ready to install our CPU. This is a Pentium III processor, and it comes with its active heatsink cooled by a fan. The heatsink comes with 4 legs, for which the Pentium III cartridge provides the locking receptacles. I put the actual heatsink into place by pressing the 4 legs through the card. This goes very smoothly and fits perfectly. Other CPUs like the Pentium II or the Celeron SEC come with different mounting provisions for their heatsinks, but the installation process is very similar. Make sure that you get the orientation right the first time, because the heatsink is very difficult to remove once installed. After you place the 4 legs through the card, use some force to compress the backing plate springs enough to lock on. This backing plate locks the heatsink to the processor nice and tight. I will install the Pentium III chip to the motherboard. These 2 brackets will hold the chip in place. And again, I have to tell you, if you don't have a Pentium III, the way you have to put your particular chip into place depends on how the processor was designed by its manufacturer, but the installation process is very similar. So here you see the contacts. They have to go into the socket, and this little notch has to fit into the socket. Make sure that the chip with its notch of the contact edge fits into the socket in the right way. When the contact line of the chip matches the way the socket is prepared for it, push the chip in. Now it is installed perfectly. Make sure you install your processor like this. This is the connector from the heatsink fan. The ATX motherboard offers 3 different power points. This connector has to plug in with this red 3-pin head that is located between the DIMM banks and the slot 1 connector. It is usually labeled on the board, right here. This is a memory chip. You can see it has 2 notches in the contact edge. There is only one way to fit the DIMMs into the banks. You have to match the notches to the 2 blocking pins of the sockets before you can put them in. Also, the banks have numbers you have to follow to fill up. Start with the socket number 1 for the first memory chip. It is important to check your motherboard manual for information on which banks have to be filled up first and in what combination. When you have chosen the right socket for your DIMM, lower the white thumb tabs on either side of the DIMM socket and then insert the chip into the socket. All right. Make sure it fits nice and tight.